What if giants really existed? If it wasn't fantasy, raging warriors or semi-gods, if they had survived, what would they look like? If all those stories in the US and outside were real? Let's dive into some findings and see the amount of clues we got. Follow along. The giants of Patagonia. They were called the Patagonese, and the name Patagonia comes from them. In 1520, as Magellan's expedition reached the southern tip of the Americas, his chronicler Antonio Pigafetta described men so tall that we only reached their waist. Later, explorers confirmed similar encounters. John Byron, in the 18th century, claimed the natives he saw stood nearly 2.8 meters tall. Thomas Cavendish spoke of giants of 15 spans. None of them were writing fantasy. They were on naval expeditions, describing what they saw. Some tried to dismiss the stories by pointing to the Tehuelche, the local people, who were tall, around 1.80 meters, but not giants. But that reinterpretation came centuries later, and none of the original eyewitnesses described them as simply tall. They insisted on something exceptional. Even in the 19th century, the stories didn't die. Expeditions spoke of giant footprints, large bones, and oral traditions among native groups describing huge beings who once lived in the land. Some explorers even claimed to have seen actual remains, bones, skulls, and burial mounds. None of it made it into museums. No preservation, no follow-up. Only silence. In the 1800s, esoteric writers began linking the Patagonian giants to the pre-Adamic races, or even Nephilim, extending the mystery into other traditions. The reports are detailed, repeated, and consistent, and they span over 3 centuries. Let's jump to the next one. Giants of Lovelock Cave. In the Nevada desert lies Lovelock Cave, a place tied to one of America's strangest legends. According to the Paiute people, a race of red-haired giants once lived in the region. Called the Siteka, they were said to be fierce, cannibalistic, and eventually destroyed by the Paiutes, who trapped and burned them inside a cave. In 1911, miners excavating guano from Lovelock Cave uncovered thousands of artifacts and human remains. Reports described unusually large bones and skulls. Some claimed to measure well above normal human size. Early accounts in the Nevada State Journal and writings by researchers like Llewellyn Loud and M.R. Harrington mention skeletons between 6 and even 8 feet tall. Today, many of the remains are missing, and mainstream archaeology attributes the finds to normal humans. But with so many clues, artifacts, and stories, it is hard not to believe that something very mysterious, yet very real, lies within these caves. American mound builders. Across the Midwest and beyond, ancient burial mounds conceal one of North America's strangest mysteries. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, newspapers reported the excavation of skeletons far taller than ordinary men. Some accounts spoke of bodies measuring over 7 or even 8 feet, buried with copper axes, seashell ornaments, and finely crafted pottery. Reports came from Ohio's Scioto Valley, Illinois near Cahokia, and further across Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Farmers and early diggers often claimed to unearth massive skulls and jawbones, fueling speculation that the mound builders were not merely skilled engineers, but a race of giants scattered across the continent. Archaeologists today attribute the tumuli to the Adena, Hopewell, and Mississippian cultures. Yet the early reports, the missing skeletons, and the sheer scale of the earthworks leave open the unsettling idea that mound giants once walked the heart of America. The Catalina Giants. Off the coast of California, Catalina Island hides a story that still fuels mystery. In the 1910s and 1920s, an archaeologist named Ralph Glidden excavated Native American burial sites across the island. His claims caused a sensation. He reported uncovering human remains measuring over 7 feet tall, some allegedly reaching 8 feet. Glidden even built a small museum to display his findings. filled with skulls, skeletons, and artifacts. Official institutions dismissed his statements as exaggerations or miscalculations. Yet many visitors said they saw oversized bones with their own eyes. Over time, the remains either vanished or were placed into storage, leaving more questions than answers. Some of Gliddon's documents, photos, and excavation notes still exist, showing unusually large skulls and skeletons stacked in burial pits. Local legends from the Tongva people also speak of a race of giant beings who once ruled the island. Together, these traces suggest the mystery was never fully debunked, just buried. Utah's giants. Deep in Utah's Sanpete Valley, legends tell of giant beings and sealed caves. In the 1950s, John Brewer claimed to have discovered a hidden chamber near Manti, containing 2 mummified giants, over 8 feet tall, surrounded by metal plates, masks, and ancient relics. He sketched what he found and showed them to locals, some of whom swear they saw the bodies with their own eyes. According to Ute and Navajo traditions, giants once roamed these lands before being wiped out. Brewer's caves were eventually sealed or lost, and the artifacts vanished. But the stories never died. And so much more. Across the U.S. and beyond, strange discoveries keep resurfacing. In Tennessee's White County, an 1881 newspaper described a giant skeleton 9 feet long found in a stone tomb. In Ecuador, Father Carlos Vaca claimed in 1964 to have uncovered bones from a 7-meter-tall giant near Loja, some of which were later shown in private collections. On the island of Malta, the Hypogeum of Hal Saflieni revealed elongated skulls, sparking theories of an ancient race. In Death Valley and Copper Ridge, Alaska, miners and explorers reported enormous remains hidden in caves. Lake Delavan discovery, covered by the New York Times and the Daily Republican, spoke of giant skulls with double rows of teeth, an anomaly also mentioned in dozens of archaeological reports between 1880 and 1930. Are all these stories just mistakes, exaggerations, or hoaxes? Or are we simply not being shown what lies in private vaults, basements, and sealed museum drawers? One thing is certain, the pattern is too consistent to ignore.